The sky above Earth was unusually quiet that morning. People went about their daily routines, unaware of the monumental event about to unfold. In a small cafe in Chicago, a young woman named Rachel Dawson sat typing away on her laptop, sipping her coffee. She worked as a journalist for Global News Network, and today felt like any other ordinary day. Until the news alerts started pouring in. High above the planet, something massive had appeared in the atmosphere. A colossal spacecraft, sleek and metallic, hovered silently over the Pacific Ocean. Its presence sent shockwaves through governments worldwide. Military satellites tracked its every move, but no hostile actions were detected. Instead, the ship began broadcasting a message, repeating it in multiple languages. "We come in peace. We seek dialogue with the people of Earth." Rachel's phone buzzed nonstop as her editor demanded updates. She quickly packed up her things and headed to Washington, D.C., where President Laura Hayes was preparing to address the nation. The streets around the White House were already crowded with reporters and curious citizens, all trying to catch a glimpse of history in the making. Inside the White House Situation Room, tension filled the air. President Hayes, a calm and composed leader in her late 50s, listened intently as her advisors debated what to do next. General William Carter, a gruff man with decades of military experience, argued for caution. "We don't know who or what we're dealing with," he said firmly. "This could be a trick." Dr. Emily Scott, an astrophysicist known for her groundbreaking research on extraterrestrial life, disagreed. "This is humanity's chance to step onto the galactic stage," she insisted, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "If we turn them away now, we might never get another opportunity." Laura nodded thoughtfully, considering both perspectives. Her mind raced with questions. Were these aliens truly peaceful? What did they want from Earth? And most importantly, how should humanity respond? Outside, Rachel pushed through the growing crowd, microphone in hand, interviewing anyone willing to talk. Some expressed excitement at the prospect of meeting alien life. "Imagine the technology they must have," exclaimed one man, his eyes wide with wonder. Others were more skeptical. "What if they're just here to take our resources?" asked a worried mother holding her child close. Back inside the White House, Laura prepared to speak to the world. Standing before a podium adorned with the presidential seal, she took a deep breath and looked into the cameras. "Today marks a new chapter in human history," she began, her voice clear and confident. "We have received communication from beings beyond our world. They claim to seek peace and cooperation. While we remain cautious, we are also hopeful. Humanity will approach this encounter with courage and wisdom." Her words resonated deeply, but not everyone shared her optimism. Across the globe, reactions varied wildly. In Tokyo, scientists gathered to analyze data collected from the alien ship. In London, protests erupted outside Parliament, with some demanding immediate contact and others calling for complete isolation. Meanwhile, intelligence agencies scrambled to uncover any hidden motives behind the visitors' arrival. As night fell, Rachel stood on a rooftop overlooking the illuminated cityscape of Washington, D.C. The alien ship remained visible in the distance, a silent reminder of the unknown challenges ahead. For the first time in her career, she felt a mix of fear and exhilaration. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain: nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning, the world woke up to an announcement that sent ripples of excitement and anxiety across every continent. The Galactic Council had sent a smaller vessel from their massive spaceship, landing near Geneva, Switzerland. It was sleek and silver, glowing faintly under the sun. A delegation of aliens stepped out, their forms tall and slender, with smooth, shimmering skin that reflected light like water. Their eyes were large and dark, unreadable yet calm. Humanity's first face-to-face meeting with extraterrestrial beings had begun. President Laura Hayes arrived at the United Nations headquarters in Geneva alongside her closest advisors, including General William Carter and Dr. Emily Scott. The room buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from nations around the globe gathered to witness the historic event. Journalists like Rachel Dawson lined the hallways, cameras flashing and microphones raised, desperate to capture every detail. The alien delegation introduced themselves as members of the Galactic Council, a coalition of civilizations spanning thousands of star systems. Through a device that translated their language into perfect English, they explained their purpose: to invite Earth into their alliance. "You are young, but you hold potential," one of the aliens said, its voice soft yet commanding. "Join us, and we will share knowledge, technology, and resources beyond your imagination." The offer seemed too good to be true. They'd promised advancements in medicine, energy, and space travel. Diseases could be eradicated, poverty eliminated, and Earth could finally venture beyond its solar system. But there was a condition. Earth would need to surrender control of its military forces and agree to abide by the Council's laws. Any decisions affecting humanity would require approval from the Council itself. Dr. Scott leaned forward during the presentation, her mind racing with possibilities. She whispered to Laura, "This could change everything, for better or worse." General Carter, however, remained skeptical. His arms crossed tightly over his chest. He muttered, "They're asking us to give up our freedom. How do we know this isn't just a fancy way of taking over?" Rachel watched the proceedings closely, scribbling notes furiously. She noticed how some delegates nodded eagerly while others frowned, clearly uneasy. Later, she interviewed a scientist who admitted, "It's tempting, but can we trust them? What happens if they decide they don't like something we're doing? Do we just sit back and let them dictate our future?" As the day went on, tensions grew. Some countries saw the proposal as a lifeline, a chance to leap centuries ahead in development. Others viewed it as a threat to Earth's independence. Back in the United States, debates erupted in Congress. Secretary of State Daniel Brooks argued passionately for caution. "We can't rush into this," he warned. "Once we sign, there's no going back." Meanwhile, Rachel uncovered troubling information. Sources within intelligence agencies hinted at secret negotiations between certain nations and the Galactic Council. These nations appeared willing to accept the terms without consulting the rest of the world. If true, it meant Earth wasn't speaking with one voice. It was fractured, divided by fear and ambition. That evening, Laura met privately with her team. Dr. Scott urged her to seek more time, to study the proposal thoroughly before making any commitments. General Carter insisted on strengthening Earth's defenses, just in case the Council's intentions weren't as noble as they claimed. Laura sat quietly, weighing their advice. Her heart told her to protect humanity's freedom, but her head reminded her of the risks of saying no to such powerful beings. By the time Rachel filed her report that night, the world was deeply divided. Social media exploded with arguments, hashtags trending worldwide. Some called for unity, urging leaders to make the right choice. Others demanded transparency, accusing governments of hiding the truth. As Rachel typed her final paragraph, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity stood on the edge of a cliff, teetering between hope and danger. Whatever decision came next, it would shape the course of history forever. The United Nations building in Geneva was packed to the brim. Delegates from nearly every country on Earth had gathered for an emergency session, their faces a mix of excitement, fear, and determination. The air buzzed with whispered conversations as everyone waited for the discussions to begin. At the center of it all sat President Laura Hayes, her expression calm but resolute. This was humanity's moment to decide its future, and she knew the weight of the decision rested heavily on her shoulders. One by one, representatives stood to speak. A Japanese diplomat was among the first, his voice steady as he addressed the room. "This is an opportunity we cannot ignore," he said. "With the Council's help, we could solve problems that have plagued us for centuries. Hunger, disease, war. Why would we turn away such a gift?" But not everyone agreed. A Nigerian delegate rose next, shaking her head firmly. "We must think carefully," she warned. History has shown us what happens when power shifts into the hands of others. Will we truly be equals, or will we become pawns in their game? We are risking more than we realize. Rachel Dawson watched from the sidelines, jotting down notes as fast as her pen could move. She noticed how some delegates leaned forward eagerly during speeches supporting the council, while others clenched their fists or whispered angrily to colleagues. The divide was clear, and it wasn't just between nations. It ran through families, communities, and even governments. Back in Washington, D.C., protests erupted outside the Capitol building. Thousands of people held signs, some reading "Join the Galaxy," while others demanded, "Protect our freedom." Rachel interviewed a young man holding a megaphone. "They're offering us the stars, but at what cost?" He shouted, "If we lose control of our own planet, we'll never get it back." Meanwhile, Dr. Emily Scott worked tirelessly behind the scenes, analyzing every detail of the council's proposal. Late one night, she discovered something alarming buried deep within the fine print. Hidden clauses revealed that Earth would essentially become a resource hub for the council, forced to supply raw materials and labor without meaningful representation. Worse still, certain provisions hinted at restrictions on scientific research, ensuring Earth would always lag behind the more advanced civilizations. Rachel broke the story the next morning, publishing an explosive article titled "The Truth Behind the Treaty Asterisk." Her report spread like wildfire, sparking outrage across the globe. People who had once supported joining the council began to question their stance. Even General William Carter admitted privately to Laura that the terms were far harsher than he'd initially realized. In the UN chambers, emotions ran high. A French delegate slammed his fist on the table, shouting, "How can we trust them? They speak of peace, but their words hide chains." Others argued that humanity wasn't ready for such a leap, pointing out Earth's long history of conflict and inequality. "We are not united," a Brazilian representative said solemnly. "How can we join the stars when we cannot even unite ourselves?" Laura listened intently, her mind racing. She called an emergency meeting with her closest advisors, including Secretary of State Daniel Brooks and Dr. Scott. Together, they debated late into the night, weighing the risks and rewards. Laura felt torn. Accepting the offer could mean incredible advancements, but rejecting it might leave Earth vulnerable, or worse, isolated. As dawn broke over Geneva, Laura made a decision. She stepped onto the stage in the UN Assembly Hall, her presence commanding silence. "We will respond to the Galactic Council," she announced, her voice firm. "But we will do so on our terms. Humanity will not surrender its freedom. Not now, not ever." The room erupted into applause, though uncertainty lingered in the air. Rachel watched from the back, her heart pounding. Whatever happened next, one thing was certain. Humanity had taken its first step toward defining itself on the galactic stage. The days following President Laura Hayes' announcement were a whirlwind of activity. Humanity's response to the Galactic Council was clear. Earth would not blindly accept their terms. Instead, Laura proposed a bold alternative, a trial period. For one Earth year, limited collaboration would take place, allowing both sides to build trust and demonstrate goodwill. During this time, Earth would retain full control over its military and resources, and no binding agreements would be made. Dr. Emily Scott worked around the clock to draft the proposal, ensuring it was precise and thoughtful. She knew the council might see this as defiance, but she also believed it was the only way to protect Earth's interests while keeping the door open for future cooperation. "We're showing them we're willing to engage," she explained to Laura during a late-night meeting, "but on our terms, not theirs." When the counteroffer was presented to the Galactic Council, their reaction was immediate and unsettling. The alien delegation listened in silence, their large, dark eyes unreadable. When they finally spoke, their tone was colder than before. "Your proposal is unacceptable," one of them said through the translation device. "You are either with us or against us. There is no middle ground." Rachel Dawson covered the exchange live, her voice trembling slightly as she reported the Council's response. "It seems humanity's attempt at compromise has fallen flat," she told her audience. "The Council views our counteroffer as disrespectful, even arrogant." Her words sent shockwaves across the globe. People watched anxiously, wondering what the Council's next move would be. Back in Washington, D.C., General William Carter sprang into action. He ordered Earth's military forces to prepare for the worst, just in case the Council decided to retaliate. Troops were mobilized, satellites repositioned, and emergency protocols activated. Though no hostile actions had been detected yet, Carter wasn't taking any chances. Hope for the best, but plan for the worst, he muttered to his staff. Laura, meanwhile, faced immense pressure from all sides. Some world leaders praised her decision, calling it courageous and necessary. Others accused her of putting Earth in danger by angering a far superior power. Protests erupted again, this time more chaotic than before. In New York City, thousands gathered outside the United Nations building, holding signs that read, "Stand strong," and "Don't betray us." Rachel wove through the crowd, capturing interviews and moments of tension. One woman shouted into her microphone, "If they think they can push us around, they've got another thing coming." As the days passed, the Council issued an ultimatum. They gave Earth 48 hours to reconsider their position. If humanity refused to accept their original terms by then, the Council warned that they would leave, and Earth might never hear from them again. The message carried an unspoken threat, leaving many to wonder if isolation was truly the only consequence of refusal. Laura spent those 48 hours consulting with her advisors, listening to scientists, military leaders, and diplomats. Dr. Scott urged caution, reminding everyone of the hidden clauses she'd uncovered. "This isn't about pride," she said firmly. "It's about protecting our future." Secretary of State Daniel Brooks agreed, adding, "If we bow now, we'll lose everything we've worked for." On the final day of the ultimatum, Laura addressed the world once more. Standing before cameras in the White House press room, she looked directly into the lens, her expression unwavering. "To the Galactic Council, I say this: we respect your offer, but we cannot surrender our freedom. To the people of Earth, I say this: we stand together, not out of fear, but out of hope. Hope that we can shape our own destiny." Her speech resonated deeply, uniting millions of people across the planet. Social media lit up with messages of support, and even critics admitted her words carried weight. Rachel wrote a follow-up article titled *Earth's Defiant Stand*, capturing the mood of determination spreading worldwide. As the deadline approached, the alien ship remained suspended above Earth, silent and still. No one knew what would happen next, but one thing was certain: humanity had drawn a line in the sand. Whatever came after, Earth would face it together. The clock struck midnight, marking the end of the 48-hour ultimatum. The world held its breath as people waited to see what the Galactic Council would do next. In cities and towns across the globe, families stayed up late, glued to their televisions and phones. Journalists like Rachel Dawson camped outside government buildings and military bases, ready to report any developments. The tension was palpable, a heavy silence hanging over Earth as all eyes turned skyward. Then, without warning, the massive alien ship began to move. It didn't descend or fire weapons. Instead, it slowly ascended higher into the atmosphere. Moments later, smaller vessels detached from the main craft and headed back toward the stars. Within minutes, the entire fleet disappeared from sight, leaving behind an eerie quiet. The Galactic Council had left. Rachel rushed to file her report, her voice steady, tinged with disbelief. "It's over," she said into her microphone. "The Council has departed, and Earth stands alone, for now." Her words echoed across news outlets worldwide, sparking a mix of relief and unease. Some celebrated the departure, cheering that humanity had stood its ground. Others worried about the consequences of turning down such a powerful alliance. President Laura Hayes addressed the nation shortly afterward, her tone calm but resolute. "Today, we made a choice. to remain free and independent, she said. We do not know what the future holds, but we will face it together as one planet. Her speech was met with applause in some corners and criticism in others. While many admired her courage, skeptics questioned whether refusing the Council's offer had been wise. In the days that followed, life on Earth began to shift. Governments scrambled to prepare for potential retaliation, even though no immediate threats emerged. General William Carter oversaw the strengthening of Earth's defenses, ensuring every military base was on high alert. Scientists worked tirelessly to improve satellite technology, hoping to track the Council's movements in case they returned. Meanwhile, Dr. Emily Scott led efforts to accelerate humanity's own space exploration programs. If they won't help us, she told her team, we'll do it ourselves. Rachel continued covering the story, traveling to different parts of the world to document how people were responding. In Tokyo, engineers unveiled plans for a new generation of rockets. In London, activists organized rallies calling for global unity. And in small towns across America, ordinary citizens came together to support one another, determined to prove that humanity could thrive without outside help. But not everyone shared this optimism. Conspiracy theories spread online, claiming the Council would return with an armada to punish Earth. Others argued that isolation would leave humanity vulnerable to dangers beyond its understanding. Rachel interviewed a man in Chicago who summed up these fears perfectly. What if we just made the biggest mistake in human history? Despite the uncertainty, something remarkable began to happen. For the first time in years, nations started working together more closely than ever before. Joint research projects were launched, pooling resources and knowledge to advance space travel and develop new technologies. Even countries with strained relationships found common ground in the face of this shared challenge. Laura watched these developments with quiet pride. She knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but she also believed humanity had proven something important, that it could unite when it mattered most. During a private meeting with her advisors, she reflected on the events of the past weeks. We may have lost their trust, she said, referring to the Council, but we've gained something far more valuable, our own. As Rachel wrapped up her latest article, she couldn't help but feel a sense of hope. The Council's rejection stung, but it had also ignited a spark within humanity, a determination to carve its own path among the stars. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Earth was ready to face them head-on. Weeks turned into months after the Galactic Council's departure, and Earth settled into a new reality. The initial panic faded, replaced by a quiet resolve. People went back to their daily lives, but the memory of the Council's visit lingered in every conversation, every decision. Humanity had stood alone once before, but now it faced the vast unknown of the galaxy with a sense of purpose. Rachel Dawson spent her days traveling across continents, documenting how societies were adapting. In California, she visited a tech company racing to develop faster-than-light communication systems. If they come back, the CEO told her, we want to be ready. In India, she met farmers using advanced satellite data to improve crop yields, part of a global push to make Earth self-sufficient. Everywhere she went, Rachel saw people working harder, dreaming bigger, determined to prove that humanity could thrive on its own. President Laura Hayes stepped down at the end of her term, leaving office as one of the most polarizing leaders in history. Some called her a hero for refusing to bow to the Council. Others blamed her for isolating Earth. But even her critics admitted she had sparked something important, a renewed focus on unity and innovation. Her successor, President James Keller, pledged to continue her mission, emphasizing Earth's independence while preparing for whatever might come next. Under Keller's leadership, nations collaborated like never before. A global space agency was formed, pooling resources and expertise from countries around the world. Engineers and scientists worked side by side, building ships capable of exploring deep space. For the first time, humanity looked beyond its own planet, not because it was invited, but because it chose to. General William Carter remained vigilant, overseeing Earth's defenses. Though no signs of the Council had been detected, he refused to let his guard down. "Hope for peace," he often said, "but prepare for war." His cautious approach earned him both praise and criticism, but no one could deny the importance of being ready. Dr. Emily Scott became a household name, appearing on talk shows and in documentaries to explain humanity's progress. She spoke passionately about the need to explore the stars, not out of fear, but out of curiosity. "We've always been explorers," she told an audience in New York. "This is just the next step." As years passed, Earth's efforts began to bear fruit. The first manned mission to Mars launched successfully, marking a major milestone. Children who had grown up watching the Council's ship hover over Earth now dreamed of becoming astronauts, engineers, and scientists. Humanity's spirit of exploration had been reignited. Rachel wrote a book about everything she had witnessed, titled *Standing Alone*. It became an instant bestseller, capturing the courage and determination of ordinary people during extraordinary times. In the final chapter, she reflected on the Council's rejection. "They underestimated us," she wrote. "They thought we'd fold under pressure, but instead, we found strength in ourselves." Decades later, humanity made its first steps beyond the solar system, not as guests of the Galactic Council, but as proud pioneers charting their own course. Earth's ships ventured into uncharted territory, carrying messages of peace and discovery. Though challenges remained, the memory of that pivotal moment, the day humanity said no, continued to inspire. It was proof that sometimes standing alone wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a declaration of strength. Years had passed since the Galactic Council left Earth, and humanity's journey into space was well underway. The lessons learned from that pivotal moment shaped every decision, every invention, and every mission. Rachel Dawson, now older and wiser, sat in her small apartment surrounded by notes and photographs from her career. She often thought about how much the world had changed since she first reported on the Council's arrival. Back then, fear and uncertainty ruled. Now, hope and determination guided humanity forward. Earth's global space agency had grown into a powerhouse of innovation. Dozens of missions launched each year, exploring nearby planets, moons, and asteroids. Scientists discovered valuable resources in the asteroid belt, reducing Earth's reliance on dwindling natural supplies. New technologies emerged, improving life for billions of people. Clean energy-powered cities, advanced medicine cured diseases once thought incurable, and communication systems connected even the most remote corners of the planet. Humanity was thriving, not because of help from aliens, but because it chose to help itself. Rachel traveled less these days, but her book *Standing Alone* remained popular. Teachers used it in classrooms to teach students about resilience and unity. One day, she received a letter from a young girl in Brazil. "Your story makes me want to be an astronaut," the girl wrote. "I want to see what's out there, just like you said we could." Rachel smiled as she read the words, feeling the deep sense of pride. Her work had inspired a new generation to look beyond Earth's horizon. President James Keller retired after 2 terms, leaving behind a legacy of progress and cooperation. His successor, President Maria Lopez, continued to push for exploration. Under her leadership, Earth launched its first interstellar ship, named *Odyssey*. It carried a crew of 12, representing nations from all over the globe. Their mission was simple yet profound: find other civilizations and show them that humanity was no longer afraid to stand on its own. As *Odyssey* departed, millions watched the live broadcast. Rachel stood among the crowd at Cape Canaveral, tears streaming down her face. This was the culmination of decades of hard work, sacrifice, and courage. Humanity wasn't just reaching for the stars. It was stepping into the unknown with confidence. The ship traveled farther than any human-made vessel before, eventually encountering a distant planet teeming with life. The crew sent back images of strange landscapes and alien creatures, sparking wonder and excitement across Earth. For the first time, humanity realized it wasn't alone. But this time, it approached the discovery not as a frightened child, but as an equal. Rachel covered the event for Global News Network, her voice steady despite the emotion swelling inside her. "Today, we take our place among the stars," she said, "not because someone invited us, but because we earned it." Back on Earth, people celebrated the achievement, knowing it marked the beginning of a new chapter. Schools renamed themselves after the *Odyssey* crew, and statues were erected in their honor. Humanity's defiance of the Galactic Council years earlier became a symbol of strength, a reminder that courage and unity could overcome even the greatest challenges. In her final article before retiring, Rachel reflected on everything she had witnessed. "We stood alone once, unsure of ourselves," she wrote. "But standing alone taught us who we are. We are explorers, builders, dreamers. And now we are ready to meet the galaxy, not as subjects or servants, but as proud members of the universe." As Rachel closed her laptop for the last time, she looked out her window at the night sky. Somewhere out there, the *Odyssey* sailed onward, carrying humanity's hopes and dreams. Whatever lay ahead, Earth was ready. It had faced fear and uncertainty, and emerged stronger than ever.